And welcome back once again to Overtime. Our special guest, Davis Weathersby, longtime former head coach at Coleman then High School back in the 50s and 60s, and also who later went on to become head coach at Mississippi Valley State on the football level and also athletic director. Again, Coach, we were talking a little about the first segment in terms of how you got started in coaching and now all the success that you had at Coleman, powerhouse. You've coached some great athletes during that time as well. But then from Coleman, you make the transition to Mississippi Valley. How did that all come about, you leaving Coleman High School to become head football coach at Valley State?
Well, back in 1970, that's when they integrated the school. And of course, I was offered a job to go to Greenville High School as assistant coach. And I never was interviewed for the head football coaching job. I thought I had a good record and had won championships. And so I asked the superintendent a question. I asked him, was I considered for the head football coaching job at Greenville High? He said, no, the Big 8 Conference is not ready for a black head football coach. And I said to him, if you looking at the color of my skin, then I can't work for you, because I want to be considered just like any other coach, because I had the condition. I had won 112 ball games and lost 26 and tied 6 and had won 4 overall Big 8 championships. Plus, I had a master's degree. But the other coach that was being considered didn't have that kind of record. So I just felt that I should have been considered. And then after I didn't accept the job, then I got a call and said that they wanted to talk to me about the head football coaching job at Tuskegee. And so I went to Tuskegee and interviewed for a job at Tuskegee. And then when I got back home, Dr. White, J.H. White, the president of Mississippi Valley at the time, he sent for me to come over there. And he told me that if I come over there, he'd give me a top salary. But I was going as an assistant coach. I didn't go as the head coach. But when I got there as an assistant coach, I found out what position I was going to be coaching. I was going to be coaching the defensive backs. I was there for a while, and then the head coach resigned. And then Dr. White asked me if I would take the head coaching position. And I knew that it was going to be a tough road to hoe because they just had a strike at Mississippi Valley, and a lot of ball players had been sent home. So my first year, we didn't win but 1 ball game. Then, of course, the next year we won 4. And then I knew then that I had to recruit and give me some good athletes. And so that's when I started recruiting and started bringing in some key athletes. Once we started getting talent, then we was able to be competitive against the other team. But you have to have talent. I don't care how well you can coach. You got to have talent in order to be competitive.
You touched on something earlier, too, about this period, this time in which desegregation was taking place. What was that like for a black head coach during that time?
Well, it was rough for a black head coach because most of the black head coaches were demoted. They wanted them to be assistant coaches, even though they had the qualification, and of course a lot of coaches, some of them accepted the position, but I didn't feel like I needed to accept that position.
Yeah, it all kind of worked out.
Yeah, it all worked out.
Yeah.
It all worked out. I had some rough years starting out, but we were able to build a program. We were able to put together some pretty good years, and then we were able to recruit some good talent. And so, and then the thing is, I inherited another family. The guys that I coached at Valley, they just like my sons. And just like the ones that I coached at Coleman High School, we still got that bond together.
Wow. And you talk about your sons, your children, if you will. You've coached hundreds and hundreds of athletes over the time, and I can just run off a few that come to my mind as far as guys that have gone on and played professionally. Boomer Scott played for the Boston Red Sox. Of course, Willie Richardson going on to play with the Colts and have success playing in a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And Parnell Dickinson, who went on to play with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jimmy Giles, who went on to play with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Put you on the spot. The best athlete. Oh, go ahead.
Well, one other thing I want to tell you now. Yeah. Willie Richardson had a brother, Gloucester Richardson.
Gloucester, yeah, the Richardson brothers.
He played in 2 Super Bowls.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, played one with Kansas City Chiefs and one with Dallas Cowboys.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So now you're going to put me on the spot.
Yeah, best athlete you've coached over your time.
You know, I've been asked that question many times. When they ask me that question, you know what my answer is? They were one of the best.
One of the best.
Yeah.
Wow.
I never would sing out which one the best because each one, they got their different things that, you know, that they could do better than others. And so all those guys were good. Now, it would be hard for me to say that Willie was the best, and it was hard for me to say that Parnell was the best or George Scott was the best. I just said they're among the best.
Well said, well said. Well, I tell you what, we're going to take another break, Coach Weathersby, but when we return, we're going to talk a little about life after coaching. What has that been like for you? And also a little about a celebration that took place a couple of years ago that caught you by surprise. We'll be right back with Coach Davis Weathersby here on your Overtime.